You may find it surprising to learn that some of the insights shared by Sister Bernadette Saris regarding the year 2025 are beginning to unfold in ways that many never anticipated. Once considered distant and shrouded in mystery, her visions now appear to hold new meaning, capturing the attention of those who have studied her words. As people look around and see the rapid changes shaping our world, many are beginning to wonder, could there be deeper truths hidden within her revelations? What exactly did she foresee, and why do her messages seem more relevant now than ever? Stay with us as we uncover the extraordinary story of Sister Bernadette, a young woman whose experiences have left a lasting impact, not only because of her encounters with the divine, but because of the messages she shared, messages that continue to inspire reflection and curiosity today. Sister Bernadette, a humble girl from France, lived more than 150 years ago, yet her legacy endures across generations. She is most known for the remarkable experiences that shaped her spiritual journey, but in recent years, many have begun revisiting her story with fresh eyes, particularly as the world faces a time of uncertainty and transformation. Her visions, once viewed as personal and deeply symbolic, now seem to hold a broader significance. The themes she spoke of concerning humanity, the natural world, and the importance of spiritual awareness are strikingly relevant today, leading many to ask, how could someone from such a simple background, raised in a quiet village with little formal education, foresee events that would resonate long after her time? This is the mystery we are about to explore. And if you enjoy exploring topics like this, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. It's completely free and ensures that you stay updated on more fascinating insights into history, faith, and the mysteries of the past and future. The life of Bernadette Saris is one of simplicity, perseverance, and faith. Born on January 7, 1844, in the small town of Lourdes, France, she was the eldest of 9 children in a family that struggled greatly with poverty. Her early years were marked by hardship, as illness frequently left her in fragile health. Education was not a priority in her household, as survival often took precedence over schooling. From a young age, she worked as a shepherdess, spending long hours tending to livestock and gathering firewood to support her family. By all appearances, she was an ordinary girl destined for a quiet life, one much like those of many others in her village. However, fate had something entirely different in store for her. At just 14 years old, on February 11, 1858, Bernadette's life took an extraordinary turn. While collecting firewood near a grotto called Massabielle, she experienced something that would change the course of her existence forever. She saw a luminous figure, an elegant woman dressed in white, surrounded by a glow that seemed to transcend the natural world. Initially, she was overwhelmed, unsure of what she was witnessing, yet she felt a deep sense of peace and calm. She later described the figure simply as a young lady. This was only the beginning. Over the next several months, Bernadette experienced 18 apparitions at the grotto. Each time, the figure spoke to her, delivering messages that would eventually reach far beyond her small village. As word of her experiences spread, people became divided in their reactions. Some were deeply moved, believing she had been blessed with a unique gift. Others, however, were skeptical, dismissing her visions as imagination or deception. Eventually, the figure in Bernadette's visions revealed her identity, declaring herself to be the Immaculate Conception. This phrase carried profound spiritual significance, one that Bernadette, given her lack of formal education, could not have fully grasped at the time. Yet the message she conveyed was clear. It was a call to faith, a reminder of the importance of prayer, reflection, and a sincere search for truth. Among the many insights she received, one stood out: the emphasis on prayer and the belief in divine grace. She shared that faith could bring comfort and renewal, even in the most uncertain times. Despite the depth of her testimony, Bernadette's experiences were met with intense skepticism, particularly from local authorities and religious figures who were hesitant to acknowledge her claims. The police questioned her repeatedly, trying to determine whether there was any deception involved. Meanwhile, some members of the church remained cautious, uncertain of how to interpret her words. Through it all, Bernadette never wavered. She remained steadfast, refusing to alter any details of her account to satisfy critics. Her humility and sincerity made it difficult for others to dismiss her outright. She was not seeking fame, recognition, or personal gain. In fact, her life became more difficult as a result of her experiences, yet she remained true to what she believed. One of the most defining moments of her story occurred when the apparition instructed her to dig into the ground. At first, she did not understand the purpose of this act, but she obeyed. To the astonishment of those who witnessed it, she uncovered a hidden spring. Over time, people who visited the site and bathed in its waters began reporting incredible recoveries, strengthening the belief that something remarkable was taking place. By 1862, just 4 years after Bernadette's initial visions, the Catholic Church formally recognized the events at Lourdes as authentic. This decision marked a turning point, solidifying Lourdes as one of the most visited pilgrimage sites in the world. Millions of people would go on to visit, drawn by the hope of spiritual renewal and healing. But beyond the immediate impact of her story, there were elements of Bernadette's revelations that continued to intrigue scholars and believers alike, particularly those concerning the future. Some of the messages she received were not only about personal faith, but also about the broader challenges humanity would face in the years to come. Among the many insights Bernadette shared, one theme stood out: a time when faith would be tested in ways never seen before, when uncertainty and confusion would spread, and when people would feel lost in a world changing rapidly around them. These words have taken on new meaning for many in today's world, where fast-moving developments, evolving social dynamics, and a growing need for spiritual connection have led people to seek deeper understanding. Her story continues to raise important questions. Was Bernadette speaking of a specific moment in time, or was her message meant to be timeless? Were her visions a reflection of challenges unique to her era, or did they hold deeper wisdom that still resonates today? As we continue to explore her revelations, we'll uncover more about the messages she shared, messages that offer not only reflection, but also hope for those searching for guidance in an ever-changing world. Stay with us as we delve deeper into the remarkable insights of Sister Bernadette Sarris and their significance in the present day. Sister Bernadette Sarris shared visions that many now interpret as insights into the challenges unfolding in our world today. From concerns about the environment to the growing divisions within society, her words seem to reflect themes that resonate deeply in our time. Even more intriguing are the messages attributed to her regarding a period of widespread confusion, one where people would struggle to discern truth from illusion. Some believe that her insights point toward an era where misinformation and misunderstanding could lead many astray, distancing individuals from what is good, just, and meaningful. While interpretations of her words may differ, one thing remains clear. The significance of Bernadette's message appears to grow with each passing year. Her insights encourage deeper reflection, leading many to wonder what exactly did she reveal about the challenges of discerning truth, and how might her words relate to the concerns of the present day. These are the very questions we will explore as we continue to examine the depth of her prophetic messages and their ongoing relevance. What was once a quiet and unremarkable village became one of the most significant places of spiritual reflection in the world. Lourdes, where Sister Bernadette had her visions, transformed into a destination for millions seeking renewal, healing, and a strengthened connection to their faith. The small grotto where she experienced her encounters became a place of devotion, a sanctuary where individuals from all walks of life gathered in hope of finding comfort and divine grace. Some traveled to Lourdes in search of physical healing, believing in the miraculous properties of its waters. Others arrived with a different purpose, seeking peace, reflection, and a renewed sense of direction in life. The atmosphere of the grotto became one of deep reverence, as visitors came to pray, meditate, and reconnect with their spiritual beliefs. The story of Bernadette drew people from across the world, not only because of the events she experienced, but because of the unwavering humility and faith she demonstrated throughout her life. Despite the widespread recognition her visions brought, Bernadette never sought attention or personal acclaim. She remained devoted to her principles, choosing a life of simplicity over recognition. At a young age, she made a deeply personal decision to dedicate her life to service. She joined the Sisters of Charity in Nevers, France, where she spent her remaining years caring for the sick and offering kindness to those in need. Even as her name became known worldwide, she stayed true to the values that had guided her from the beginning: humility, devotion, and selflessness. Even as countless people marveled at the miraculous events connected to her name, Bernadette saw herself simply as a messenger, someone who had been entrusted with a purpose greater than her own personal journey. She did not see herself as special, nor did she seek any form of recognition. Her focus remained on acts of service, embodying the very principles she had come to represent. Throughout her life, Bernadette's health was fragile. As she grew older, her struggles with illness became more pronounced, and she endured great suffering. She was diagnosed with tuberculosis, a condition that caused her significant physical pain and weakened her body over time. Yet, despite the immense challenges she faced, her faith never wavered. She held firm to the messages she had received, believing in their importance and trusting in the path set before her. What made Bernadette remarkable was not only the nature of her visions, but the way she carried herself through life with sincerity, grace, and unwavering belief. She did not view her hardships as obstacles, but rather as part of a greater journey. She accepted each challenge with patience, seeing it as an opportunity to deepen her faith. Through all of her suffering, she never expressed fear or doubt. Instead, she embraced her experiences with an extraordinary sense of peace. On April 16, 1879, at just 35 years old, Bernadette passed away, leaving behind a legacy far beyond what she could have imagined. She had never sought recognition, nor did she expect to be remembered as a historical figure. Yet her story touched millions of lives, inspiring generations with her quiet strength and dedication to truth. Bernadette's life was not one of ambition or power, but rather of deep inner conviction. She remained steadfast in her beliefs, never altering her words to fit expectations or seeking approval from others. Her authenticity and humility became the foundation of her legacy. Decades after her passing, the Catholic Church formally recognized the significance of her life and visions. In 1933, Bernadette was canonized as a saint, a recognition that affirmed her role as a guiding figure of faith and devotion. Lourdes continued to draw visitors from across the world, and stories of miraculous experiences at the sacred site only further solidified its importance. One of the most extraordinary aspects of Lourdes is the sheer number of individuals who have reported life-changing experiences after visiting the site. It all began with a simple yet mysterious instruction given to Bernadette by the figure in her visions. During one of her 18 encounters, she was asked to dig into the ground at the grotto of Massabielle. At first, Bernadette was puzzled. Why would she be asked to dig in a place where nothing seemed to be? But she chose to follow the instruction without hesitation, and what happened next astonished everyone. As she dug into the earth, a small spring of water emerged. What began as a trickle soon became a flowing source, and over time, countless visitors began to believe in its profound significance. The water of Lourdes became a symbol of faith and healing, drawing millions who sought comfort, renewal, and hope. Some who came to Lourdes spoke of remarkable recoveries, leading to widespread accounts of miraculous healings. These stories further deepened the mystery surrounding Bernadette's experiences, leaving many to wonder, was this spring a divine sign, a gift meant to offer reassurance and hope to those in need? Or was it simply a remarkable natural occurrence that happened at just the right moment in time? Regardless of individual interpretations, Lourdes continued to grow in importance, becoming a place where faith and reflection flourished. People from all over the world made the pilgrimage, not only seeking healing but also searching for peace, clarity, and a deeper understanding of their own spiritual journey. Bernadette's story does not end with her passing, nor does it fade into history. Her legacy continues to be studied, her words continue to be reflected upon, and her visions continue to inspire discussions about their meaning. As we explore the full depth of her insights, we uncover not just a story of faith, but a reminder of the profound ways in which belief, hope, and perseverance can shape the human experience. What else did Bernadette foresee? And how do her messages continue to resonate with us today? Join us as we continue to explore the remarkable journey of this humble visionary, whose life and words remain a source of reflection and inspiration for generations to come. What seemed like nothing more than a small trickle of water at the time would go on to become one of the most extraordinary symbols of hope and healing in history. The news of the spring spread rapidly, especially as reports of remarkable recoveries began to emerge. People from all walks of life, hearing of its mysterious properties, traveled to Lourdes, hoping to find relief not only for physical ailments, but also for inner peace and renewal. One of the earliest recorded events linked to the spring took place in 1858, just a few months after Bernadette's visions. A woman named Catherine Latipai, who had suffered from paralysis in one of her hands, decided to make the journey to Lourdes in search of healing. With faith and determination, she dipped her hand into the flowing water. To her astonishment, she immediately regained movement in her fingers, an event that many considered nothing short of extraordinary. This was only the beginning. As the years passed, thousands of visitors came forward, sharing their experiences of unexpected recoveries after immersing themselves in the waters of Lourdes. Some of these cases were so remarkable that they could not be easily dismissed, even by those who were initially skeptical. The sheer number of testimonies led to increased interest from the scientific and religious communities alike. In response to the overwhelming number of reports, the Catholic Church took a careful and methodical approach to verifying these extraordinary claims. Medical experts and theologians conducted detailed investigations, analyzing the medical histories of those who had reported sudden recoveries. The process was meticulous, ensuring that each case was studied thoroughly before any conclusions were drawn. Out of the countless accounts submitted over the years, the Church has officially recognized 70 cases as being beyond medical explanation. These particular recoveries left doctors and researchers unable to find a scientific reason for the sudden improvements in health. While opinions may vary on the nature of these events, there is no denying that Lourdes has become a place of deep significance, not only for those who seek healing, but for those searching for meaning in their own spiritual journeys. However, Lourdes is far more than just a site known for remarkable recoveries. It has become a sanctuary for spiritual renewal, a place where countless individuals come not to seek a cure for their bodies, but rather a sense of peace, clarity, and purpose. For many, the pilgrimage to Lourdes represents more than just a visit to a sacred place. It is an opportunity for self-reflection, prayer, and strengthening one's beliefs. People from different backgrounds, cultures, and walks of life gather here with a shared intention to seek grace, find solace, and reconnect with their faith. The sense of community found in Lourdes is unlike any other. It is a place where differences fade, where people come together in devotion, united by a common pursuit of inner peace and healing. Bernadette's story reshaped how many view the idea of pilgrimage. While religious journeys had long been part of spiritual traditions across the world, her experiences at Lourdes added a new dimension to the concept. It was no longer simply about reaching a physical location, it was about embarking on a personal journey of transformation. Lourdes became a symbol of hope, a place where ordinary people could experience something extraordinary. Even beyond religious traditions, Bernadette's story has continued to inspire individuals from all walks of life. Her journey is one of perseverance, humility, and an unwavering belief in something greater than oneself. Whether or not one shares her specific faith, the themes of her life, faith, endurance, and the pursuit of truth are universal and resonate deeply with people across cultures. The impact of Lourdes extends far beyond its well-documented accounts of healing. It remains a place where people come seeking clarity, strength, and renewal. But beyond this, there is another aspect of Bernadette's experiences that continues to intrigue those who study her life, her prophetic insights into the future. Some of Bernadette's revelations extended beyond personal faith and spoke of challenges that humanity would face in the years to come. One of the most striking aspects of her visions described a time when spiritual beliefs would be tested in ways never seen before. She spoke of an era where confusion and uncertainty would lead many away from faith, where people would struggle to discern what was true and what was not. Although her words were spoken more than a century ago, many find them eerily relevant to the challenges society faces today. The world continues to experience shifting values, increasing divisions, and a growing sense of uncertainty about the future. Bernadette's message about the importance of remaining steadfast in faith has led many to reflect on its significance in the modern era. Some believe that her insights contained warnings about a period of spiritual struggle, where individuals might be drawn away from their beliefs by distractions that take them further from the pursuit of truth and wisdom. Others interpret her message as an encouragement and invitation to remain firm in personal convictions despite the ever-changing nature of the world. Could these words be relevant to the challenges people face today? Many who revisit Bernadette's messages believe that they were not meant solely for the people of her time, but for future generations as well. Her reflections on faith, resilience, and the search for truth continue to hold deep meaning for those who seek guidance in navigating the complexities of life. One thing remains certain: Bernadette's insights were not just intended for those who lived in her era. They were messages meant to endure through time, offering guidance and encouragement to future generations. As the world continues to evolve, her words serve as a reminder that no matter how uncertain the future may seem, there is always an opportunity for hope, renewal, and spiritual awakening. As we explore the depths of her story, we uncover not just a tale of visions and miracles, but a timeless message about faith, perseverance, and the search for meaning. Her life continues to inspire those seeking clarity and guidance, proving that some messages transcend time and remain just as powerful today as they were over a century ago. What exactly did Bernadette foresee, and how might her insights into faith and the search for truth apply to the challenges the world faces today? These questions continue to captivate those who study her words, especially as uncertainty and change become more prominent in modern times. In an era where many people seek guidance and reassurance, the visions of Sister Bernadette Sarris remain a source of profound curiosity. While she is widely known for her miraculous encounters at Lourdes, some believe her role extended beyond these events. To those who have examined her life closely, she was not just a visionary, she was also someone whose insights carried significance far beyond her own time. Hidden within the testimonies of those closest to her are accounts that suggest her revelations touched on themes that are still unfolding today. Among these, one of the most thought-provoking topics in recent years has been her connection to the year 2025. Though Bernadette never specifically referenced this year in the visions that were publicly documented, scholars and believers alike have drawn intriguing connections between her messages and the world's current state. Her descriptions of great change, spiritual tests, and the challenges humanity would face have taken on renewed meaning as global events continue to evolve in ways that seem eerily reflective of her words. As she neared the final years of her life, Bernadette withdrew from public attention, spending her days in quiet devotion within the convent in Nevers, France. During this time, it is said that she shared private revelations with a select few nuns, visions that extended far beyond the miraculous healings associated with Lourdes. Some of these accounts were carefully recorded, and among them, one particular message has continued to spark deep reflection. There will be a great awakening, a time of trials, but also of grace. The world will tremble, but faith will be restored. Many believe these words are closely tied to the challenges unfolding today. With increasing societal divisions, moral dilemmas, and environmental upheaval shaping the world's landscape, There are those who see this period as a moment of intense transformation, one that Bernadette may have foreseen long before it began. What makes this prophecy particularly compelling is that Bernadette's visions were not confined to personal experiences of faith. They encompassed broader themes of change, natural disruptions, and the tests that would shape humanity's spiritual journey. She described a time when people would be forced to face the consequences of their actions, both in the world around them and within their own hearts. One of the most striking aspects of her messages involves references to the natural world. According to records of her visions, she spoke of a time when rivers would overflow, the skies would burn brightly, and the earth would suffer. These words, spoken over a century ago, seem increasingly relevant as environmental concerns continue to mount. In recent years, record-breaking wildfires, floods, and extreme weather events have become more frequent and severe. While scientists warn that the planet is reaching a crucial turning point, Bernadette's words suggest that these occurrences could also carry a deeper meaning, a spiritual dimension that calls for reflection and change. Some interpret this as a reminder that humanity's connection to the natural world is not only physical, but also deeply intertwined with a sense of responsibility and purpose. Beyond environmental concerns, Bernadette's visions also touched upon the growing tensions within societies. She reportedly described a time when nations would rise against one another not with physical conflict, but with words that spread division and misunderstanding. While history has always been shaped by moments of tension, the modern age has introduced new challenges that align with her message. Today, as the world approaches 2025, many of the obstacles humanity faces seem to echo the themes of her vision. Trust in institutions has weakened, societies are becoming increasingly divided, and discussions once rooted in reason are now clouded by misinformation and uncertainty. The rapid rise of digital platforms has made it easier than ever for confusion to spread, making it difficult to distinguish fact from fiction. These developments bear an undeniable resemblance to Bernadette's warning of a time when people would struggle to see the truth clearly. Yet, despite these sobering reflections, Bernadette's visions were never solely focused on hardship. She did not only speak of challenges, she also spoke of renewal, hope, and the enduring strength of faith. In her messages, she described a time when, even in the midst of great uncertainty, people would rediscover the power of belief. In times of darkness, the light of faith will shine again. She believed that hardship would ultimately lead to transformation. Rather than being a cause for despair, challenges would serve as a path toward rediscovering what truly matters. Her words suggested that when faced with overwhelming difficulties, people would turn back to their beliefs, seeking comfort in prayer and a renewed connection to the divine. Her visions spoke of gatherings, large numbers of people coming together in shared moments of reflection, seeking hope in times of uncertainty. Some interpret this as a sign that, despite the challenges the world faces, faith will experience a resurgence, even in places where it may have long been forgotten. One of the most mysterious elements of her messages concerns her mention of a chosen figure, an individual who would emerge during a time of great uncertainty. According to interpretations of her words, this person would rise from obscurity, offering guidance to those seeking direction. Was Bernadette referring to someone specific, or was this a broader metaphor for the idea that leaders, teachers, and voices of wisdom would emerge when they are most needed? Interpretations vary, but the possibility of such a guiding presence has led many to reconsider her words with fresh curiosity. As time moves forward, her messages remain an ongoing source of reflection. Whether one views them as prophecy, spiritual insight, or symbolic guidance, one fact is undeniable: Bernadette's words were never meant only for her time. They were intended to transcend generations, offering wisdom and encouragement to those seeking clarity in an ever-changing world. What more did she reveal? How might her visions continue to provide insight into the path ahead? These are the questions that drive those who continue to study her story, searching for deeper meaning in the timeless words she left behind. Bernadette described this figure as someone emerging from an unexpected place, not recognized by status, influence, or material wealth, but instead distinguished by profound wisdom and the ability to inspire others. This vision has sparked countless interpretations. Some believe she was referring to a leader who would arise in a moment of great uncertainty, calling people back to faith and unity when the world seemed to be losing its way. Others see it as a broader symbol, representing a renewal of spiritual awareness, a shift in consciousness that would lead individuals to rediscover lost values and reconnect with a sense of purpose. Regardless of interpretation, Bernadette's vision suggests that even in the most challenging times, guidance will not be lost. Hope, she believed, would always remain. As the world faces complex issues, from the lingering effects of global health crises to economic uncertainty and growing concerns about fairness and balance in society, many have begun to look at her words with fresh curiosity. The parallels between her insights and the current state of the world are difficult to ignore, and as the year 2025 approaches, spiritual seekers, scholars, and those searching for meaning find themselves drawn to her prophecies, hoping to uncover wisdom for the times ahead. Was she pointing toward a specific turning point? Could this moment in history be part of the transformation she spoke of? While the meaning of her visions remains open to interpretation, there is no denying that her words continue to resonate, offering both caution and hope to those seeking guidance in an ever-changing world. The idea of a great awakening, a period where humanity would go through profound trials yet ultimately find a path to renewal, remains at the heart of Bernadette's messages. She never suggested that hardship was the end of the story. Instead, she framed challenges as an opportunity, a catalyst for change, a necessary step in the journey toward something greater. Her vision was one of transformation, where faith, unity, and spiritual growth would flourish once again after a time of uncertainty. For those who believe that humanity still has the ability to change its course, her words serve as a reminder and a call to action and encouragement to embrace kindness, seek truth, and return to values that transcend generations. In moments where the world seems to be shifting rapidly, her message suggests that these changes are not meant to lead to despair, but rather to awakening. At first glance, the world may appear to be approaching a moment of great transition, with many challenges unfolding in rapid succession. Shifts in the environment, growing disconnection between individuals, and a search for deeper meaning all seem to mirror aspects of her prophecy. She spoke of trials that would shake humanity, yet she also emphasized that these very struggles would lead to renewal. It is through these challenges, she believed, that people would rediscover what truly mattered. One of the most striking aspects of her visions was her reference to the natural world. She described a time when the earth will groan, the skies will burn, and the waters will rise. Many now see these words as a reflection of the environmental concerns of today. Over the past few years, unpredictable weather patterns, intense heat waves, and extreme natural events have left a lasting impact across the globe. Scientists warn that the planet is reaching a critical moment, one that calls for urgent attention. But Bernadette's message offers a different layer of meaning. Her words suggest that the challenges faced by the natural world are not just physical, but also deeply connected to humanity's spiritual and moral state. She believed that the way people treated the earth reflected their inner condition. A world in balance, she suggested, required people to live with care, gratitude, and responsibility, not only toward one another, but toward the planet itself. Today, many have begun to recognize the connection between environmental stewardship and personal values, echoing her belief that a renewed sense of awareness and responsibility could emerge from these struggles. As people reflect on the state of the world, many have begun to seek a more intentional and meaningful relationship with nature. Practices of mindfulness, gratitude, and ethical care for the planet are becoming more widespread. This shift closely aligns with Bernadette's vision that even in times of difficulty, hearts will awaken, suggesting that through adversity, there is an opportunity for healing, both for the world and for the human spirit. Beyond her reflections on the natural world, Bernadette also spoke of a time when confusion and division would spread, making it harder for people to find truth and unity. She described an era where words would divide more than any physical conflict, emphasizing that discord would not necessarily arise from external struggles, but from misunderstandings, loss of trust, and challenges in discerning right from wrong. This message holds deep relevance today, as many feel that society is facing an increasing disconnect. Differences in perspectives, breakdowns in communication, and the overwhelming presence of conflicting information have made it more difficult than ever to reach common ground. While technological advancements have provided incredible tools for sharing knowledge and ideas, they have also introduced new complexities, creating both opportunities and challenges for how people navigate truth and understanding. Bernadette's vision seemed to suggest that these difficulties would intensify before people fully realized the importance of unity and deeper connection. However, she did not see this as an irreversible decline. Instead, she spoke of a time when individuals would recognize the value of truth, compassion, and the ability to listen to one another. According to her prophecy, the struggle to find unity would not be easy, but it would lead people back to the foundational principles that define what it means to be human: kindness, forgiveness, and a shared purpose. Whether viewed as prophecy, spiritual wisdom, or an invitation to reflect on the present moment, Bernadette's words remain as thought-provoking as ever. She did not speak of endings, she spoke of transformation. Her message was never meant to inspire fear, but to encourage awareness, urging people to seek clarity, live with intention, and embrace the values that bring meaning and connection to life. As we continue exploring her insights, the deeper mysteries within her messages remain waiting to be uncovered. What did she truly foresee? How do her reflections on truth, unity, and renewal connect to the world today? And most importantly, how can her words guide us toward a future shaped not by fear, but by the possibility of a profound and lasting awakening? Perhaps one of the most profound elements of Bernadette's visions is her unwavering belief that even in the darkest times, light would always find a way to shine through. She described how faith would return in ways people never expected, leading them to rediscover the inner strength that comes from spiritual devotion. In her visions, she saw communities coming together in moments of reflection and prayer, offering each other support and rekindling a shared sense of purpose. It was not just a vision of struggle, but also of resilience, a reminder that even in uncertainty, hope remains. Her message suggests that 2025 will not be solely defined by challenges, but by how people choose to respond to them. While difficulties may arise, they also present opportunities for personal and collective growth. Bernadette believed that faith and perseverance would be the keys to navigating these moments, allowing people to move forward with strength rather than fear. As time moves closer to this moment of transformation, more individuals are turning to her words, seeking insight into how they can prepare their hearts and minds for what lies ahead. Although her visions may not provide specific details about the future, they offer something even more significant: a reminder that no matter what challenges unfold, the power to embrace faith, kindness, and compassion remains in the hands of every individual. Each person has the ability to choose hope over despair, unity over division, and truth over confusion. As we continue to explore the deeper messages within Bernadette's revelations, one theme becomes increasingly relevant: the impact of words and how they shape the world around us. She spoke of a time when nations would not engage in physical struggles, but rather in battles of words, a period when misunderstanding, division, and confusion would create barriers between people. Many who study her messages interpret this as a warning about the increasing disconnect between individuals, fueled not by physical conflict, but by differences in perception, communication, and trust. In today's world, this insight has taken on striking relevance. The way people communicate has evolved rapidly, especially with technological advancements making it easier than ever to share ideas, information, and beliefs. However, with this progress has also come a new challenge: the struggle to separate truth from speculation. Information now spreads at an unprecedented speed, sometimes without verification, leading to increasing difficulty in distinguishing what is real and what is simply a distortion of reality. Bernadette seemed to foresee a time when people would wrestle with confusion, encountering conflicting voices that would make clarity more elusive than ever before. Yet, even amid these uncertainties, she believed that something powerful and transformative would take place. She described a shift one that would lead people to seek deeper meaning beyond what is immediately visible. In her visions, she saw individuals turning away from distractions and instead seeking wisdom through reflection, prayer, and spiritual connection. This prophecy aligns with a noticeable trend in recent years. More people are turning towards spirituality, personal growth, and mindfulness, searching for something beyond material success or fleeting distractions. Practices such as meditation, prayer, and intentional living have become sources of strength in an uncertain world. Whether through faith, philosophy, or personal introspection, there is a growing movement toward reclaiming a sense of purpose. Bernadette's vision suggested that trials would ultimately lead to renewal. While confusion may cause people to question their beliefs, it would also create an opportunity for rediscovery. She believed that people who had lost their sense of direction would eventually find their way back to the values that matter most: compassion, forgiveness, and inner peace. She described this period as one where hearts that have wandered will find their way home again. For those who hold on to hope, this vision serves as a reassuring reminder that even in times of great uncertainty, there is always a path toward healing and reconciliation. Another compelling element of her prophecies centered around the importance of truth and integrity. She warned of a time when hidden truths would be revealed, and those who acted dishonestly would no longer be able to hide. Many interpret this as a reflection of the increasing desire for honesty, accountability, and fairness in today's world. Across different areas of society, there is a rising call for transparency and ethical decision-making. As humanity faces new challenges, Bernadette's words seem to serve as a guiding principle, a reminder that the choices people make today will shape the future. She believed that truth, once uncovered, would have the power to transform the world for the better. Her vision suggests that, while difficulties may arise, they are not meant to break people, but to awaken them. The struggles of today, whether personal or global, can be a stepping stone toward renewal, deeper understanding, and a stronger sense of unity. Perhaps the greatest takeaway from her insights is that, no matter how much the world changes, some truths remain: constant kindness, resilience, and the search for meaning will always be the foundation of a life well lived. She did not describe a future where hardship would disappear, but rather one where individuals would have to make a choice whether to let challenges weaken their spirits or to use them as opportunities for growth, strength, and renewal. Bernadette's visions were not meant to inspire fear, but to encourage resilience, reminding people that how they respond to difficulties determines the course of their spiritual and personal journey. Looking ahead, the message of transformation remains one of the most powerful aspects of her insights. She believed that adversity could serve as a pathway to deeper awareness, that moments of doubt could lead to profound understanding, and that even when all seemed lost, renewal was always possible. In her visions, she saw what was broken being restored, what was lost being found, and what seemed impossible becoming reality once again. The significance of Bernadette's words continues to be a subject of discussion among both religious scholars and those who examine historical patterns. Some view her visions as spiritual reminders, urging people to reflect on their beliefs, choices, and values. Others interpret her words as reflections of the natural cycles of history, where periods of upheaval are inevitably followed by renewal. Within faith communities, Bernadette is revered as a figure of deep spiritual wisdom. Her experiences at Lourdes and the extraordinary healings associated with the site have strengthened the belief that she was entrusted with a message that extends beyond her own lifetime. Many who study her words see them as a source of encouragement, a call to remain steadfast in truth, to seek peace in the face of uncertainty, and to trust in the power of faith. At the same time, there are those who analyze her visions from a more practical perspective. Some suggest that the challenges she described, such as environmental shifts and societal changes, align with what researchers and experts have studied for decades. Climate specialists, for example, have long warned about changing weather patterns and their long-term consequences, explaining these shifts as the result of natural and human-influenced processes rather than supernatural foresight. However, regardless of perspective, one truth remains undeniable: Bernadette's words continue to inspire deep reflection. Whether viewed through a religious lens or a historical one, her message encourages people to consider their role in shaping the world, to think about how they respond to obstacles, and to seek wisdom during times of uncertainty. As we continue to explore Bernadette's insights, her focus on spiritual renewal, personal faith, and the strength found in inner conviction takes center stage. Her legacy is not simply one of prophecy, but of resilience, humility, and the belief that even in the most difficult times, light can always be found. The discussion surrounding Bernadette's messages has long sparked debate between those who see her words as divine revelations and those who view them as symbolic reflections open to interpretation. One of the challenges in analyzing her predictions lies in their imagery, which can be understood in various ways. For example, her descriptions of skies on fire and waters rising are often seen as clear references to modern environmental concerns, yet others argue that such phrases have appeared throughout history in spiritual and prophetic language. Some believe these descriptions symbolize broader themes of transformation rather than specific natural events. Skeptics point out that many of Bernadette's visions, especially those concerning trials followed by grace, are open-ended, allowing them to be interpreted in different ways depending on the era. They argue that similar language has been used across various cultures and traditions, making it difficult to establish a direct link between her words and modern events. For those who believe in her message, however, the relevance of her warnings to today's world is unmistakable. The increasing urgency surrounding environmental concerns, social shifts, and the search for spiritual meaning seems to align closely with her insights. Interestingly, this debate does not always lead to opposition. Some scholars and theologians suggest that faith and science do not need to be in conflict. Instead, they propose that prophecy can serve as spiritual guidance, encouraging ethical reflection, inspiring personal growth, and shaping human responsibility, while science provides the tools to address practical challenges. From this perspective, Bernadette's words about the future may serve two purposes: a spiritual call for renewal and a reminder that humanity holds responsibility for its own destiny. Whether through caring for the planet, fostering unity, or seeking deeper wisdom, her message encourages people to take action, not just wait for change to happen. Despite the warnings she shared, one of the most defining aspects of Bernadette's visions is her unshakable belief in hope. While much focus is placed on her cautionary words about spiritual, environmental, and societal challenges, she also emphasized that renewal and transformation were always within reach. As the world moves toward 2025, her message of hope takes on even greater significance. She foresaw a time when humanity would face challenges that could shake its foundations, yet she also made it clear that these moments were not meant to create despair. Instead, she saw them as opportunities, chances to reevaluate priorities, to reconnect with one another, and to emerge stronger in faith, wisdom, and purpose. One of the most striking themes in her messages is the idea of spiritual renewal, not just for individuals, but for humanity as a whole. Bernadette believed that in times of great uncertainty, people would seek meaning in ways they had not before. She envisioned a future where those who had strayed from their beliefs would find their way back, where lost values would be rediscovered, and where compassion, forgiveness, and unity would become guiding forces once again. Her words, whether seen as prophecy, spiritual wisdom, or historical insight, continue to invite reflection. As humanity faces new crossroads, her message remains a reminder that no matter how dark the world may seem, the potential for healing, connection, and renewal is always present. Bernadette believed that the struggles of 2025 would serve as an invitation for humanity to shift its focus away from materialism, selfishness, and division, instead embracing a life centered on compassion, humility, and faith. She suggested that by doing so, people would not only find personal peace, but also contribute to the healing of the world as a whole. Rather than viewing hardship as a source of despair, she saw it as a moment of awakening, an opportunity for individuals to reevaluate their priorities and rediscover the deeper meaning of life. Among the more mysterious aspects of Bernadette's prophecies is a vision that has sparked significant discussion: the warning of a great deception. She spoke of a time when many would be led astray by someone or something that appears to bring light, but instead brings confusion and loss. This particular message has led to numerous interpretations, with some viewing it as a warning about a deceptive influence that could mislead people not through destruction or force, but through subtle persuasion and manipulation. Rather than presenting deception as an obvious threat, Bernadette described it as something that would unfold gradually, shifting perceptions over time. She warned that words would be twisted, truth would be made to seem false, and falsehoods would be presented as wisdom. This aligns with the idea that deception does not always come through dramatic events, but rather through small, almost unnoticeable changes that shape the way people think and act. Some who study her words believe that 2025 may be a time of great discernment, a period in which individuals must be especially mindful of what they believe and whom they choose to follow. Bernadette emphasized that faith would be a shield against confusion, urging people to seek clarity through prayer, reflection, and inner integrity rather than blindly accepting the narratives presented to them. However, even in this vision of deception, Bernadette's message contained hope. She described a time when those who hold fast to what is good will not be shaken, and those who seek truth with sincerity will find their way. This suggests that while confusion and uncertainty may spread, they will not overpower those who remain vigilant. Those who stay committed to their values, who question with wisdom, and who act with kindness and integrity will recognize falsehoods for what they are and stand firm in what they believe to be right. Beyond the spiritual warnings in her visions, Bernadette's messages also carried a powerful theme of unity. She acknowledged that the world would go through moments of division and struggle, but she also believed that these difficulties would ultimately bring people back together. She described how what is broken can be rebuilt, and those who have been separated can find common ground once again. Her vision suggests that while difficult times may test humanity, they also provide an opportunity for reconciliation. She believed that faith could help people rediscover the value of working together, overcoming differences, and focusing on what truly matters. If people chose understanding over hostility, compassion over selfishness, and cooperation over isolation, the struggles they faced would not divide them, but rather bring them closer together. As 2025 approaches, Bernadette's message invites reflection. Are the challenges of today leading to greater division, or are they an opportunity for renewal? Are people being pulled away from what is meaningful, or are they being given a chance to rediscover their values and purpose? While interpretations of her prophecies may vary, the central theme remains clear: there is always hope. The choices made today will shape the world of tomorrow. Whether viewed from a religious or philosophical perspective, her words encourage people to remain grounded in kindness, faith, and discernment, ensuring that even in the most uncertain times, the light of wisdom and understanding is never extinguished. At a time when the world feels increasingly divided, one of the most striking aspects of Bernadette's vision is its call for unity. She foresaw a period in which humanity would be tested not just by external challenges, but by the test of whether people would choose division or cooperation. Her vision suggests that the difficulties faced today are not meant to drive people apart, but rather to serve as a catalyst for coming together. She believed that hardship could be the beginning of something greater, a starting point for a new sense of understanding, where individuals and communities recognize the necessity of working together to overcome shared challenges. As history has shown, true strength is not found in isolation, but in unity, in the ability to support one another, and in the power of collective resilience. Bernadette's message is one that continues to inspire. It is a reminder that even in times of uncertainty, the path forward is always shaped by the choices people make, the choice to hold on to faith, to seek truth, and to build bridges instead of walls. Whether her words are viewed as prophecy or as wisdom drawn from deep spiritual insight, they offer something timeless and profound: the belief that even in the most difficult times, renewal is always possible. This message offers a profound sense of hope, especially in a time when misunderstandings, conflicts, and uncertainty seem to overshadow daily life. Bernadette's prophecy serves as a reminder that even in the midst of division, reconciliation and peace are always possible. She envisioned a future where what is scattered will be gathered, and what is broken will be restored. This powerful imagery suggests that no matter how deep the struggles of humanity may be, the opportunity for healing and unity will always be within reach. Perhaps the most compelling aspect of Bernadette's visions is her unwavering belief in humanity's ability to transform. She did not see the challenges of 2025 as an end, but rather as a moment of awakening, a chance for people to reassess their values, rebuild their relationships, and rediscover faith. Though she warned of difficulties ahead, she was just as certain that these hardships would lead not to destruction, but to renewal. Her perspective stands in contrast to many interpretations of prophecy that focus on inevitable disaster. Bernadette's vision was never one of doom, but of hope. She viewed adversity not as something meant to break the human spirit, but as something that could strengthen it, refine it, and lead it toward something greater. Her words suggest that every moment of hardship presents a choice: people can either surrender to despair, or they can use these experiences as turning points for greater understanding and change. She described a future in which those who have strayed will find their way, and those who seek truth will be guided. This speaks to something deeper than physical change. It suggests a spiritual awakening, where people would look beyond material concerns and rediscover the deeper meaning of life. In Bernadette's view, true renewal would not come from external events alone, but from within, from the transformation of the heart, the return to faith, compassion, and unity. The impact of Bernadette's prophecies extends far beyond the miraculous healings associated with Lourdes. While her experiences at the grotto brought comfort and inspiration to millions, her messages about the future continue to resonate with those seeking clarity in uncertain times. As the world navigates environmental, social, and spiritual challenges, her words remain a guiding force, offering a beacon of hope to those searching for meaning. Individuals and institutions alike have turned to her insights as a source of wisdom in navigating today's complex realities. Some interpret her words as a call to strengthen faith, while others see them as a reminder of the importance of unity, resilience, and the pursuit of truth. In many ways, her legacy has become a source of encouragement, offering people a way to make sense of the present and prepare for what lies ahead. As people reflect on Bernadette's insights, a fundamental question arises: how will humanity respond to the challenges of the times? Will people allow division to deepen, or will they seek common ground? Will hardship lead to despair, or will it inspire renewal? Bernadette's prophecy suggests that the answer lies in our hands. While struggles may be unavoidable, the way people respond to them will determine the course of the future. As the world moves toward what some consider a defining moment, the significance of Bernadette's visions continues to unfold, offering guidance and reflection to those seeking deeper understanding. Though much attention is given to the warnings she delivered about difficult trials and upheaval, her messages were never solely about hardship, they were about transformation. She envisioned a future where humanity, despite its struggles, would find its way back to truth, compassion, and faith. This perspective shifts the narrative from one of inevitable decline to one of opportunity. The world, in Bernadette's eyes, was not doomed to chaos, it was being given the chance to rediscover what truly matters. One of the central themes in her visions was the test of faith, a time when people would be challenged to remain steadfast in their beliefs despite widespread confusion. She foresaw an era when many would feel lost, and what once seemed certain would be questioned. This message resonates deeply in today's world, where rapid changes in values, beliefs, and traditions have led many to search for deeper meaning in their lives. To Bernadette, faith was not just about religious practice, it was about inner strength, the ability to remain rooted in truth, even when external circumstances seemed uncertain. As we continue exploring her messages, we will uncover more about the themes of perseverance, guidance, and spiritual renewal, and how her wisdom continues to inspire people across generations. Her visions were not meant to predict despair, but to offer hope, a reminder that no matter how uncertain the future may seem, faith and resilience will always light the way forward. She foresaw a time when the distractions of the material world would grow stronger, pulling people away from their spiritual foundations. Yet, she also spoke of something just as powerful, a countermovement, a renewal of faith that would rise in response to these challenges. "The greater the trial, the brighter the light that will shine," she once said, suggesting that no matter how much uncertainty spread, those who sincerely sought truth would never be abandoned. This theme was central to her belief in the resilience of the human spirit. She did not see faith as something that exists only in moments of peace, but rather as something that is tested, refined, and strengthened in times of difficulty. Even in the face of great confusion, she believed that those who held firm to their beliefs with sincerity and discernment would ultimately find the clarity they needed to navigate the times ahead. Among the most enigmatic aspects of Bernadette's visions was her warning of a great deception. She spoke of a time when a voice would rise, claiming to bring unity, yet its words would divide, leading many astray. This prophecy has been the subject of much debate among scholars and religious thinkers, with some associating it with the concept of a figure who misleads through false promises and distorted truths. Bernadette did not describe this deception in worldly or political terms. Instead, she presented it as a spiritual test, a moment when many would be drawn in by something that appeared to offer wisdom, but would instead lead them away from what was truly good. "Many will follow blindly," she warned, "drawn to what seems like truth, yet their hearts will feel unease." This suggests that those who remain connected to their moral values and spiritual wisdom will recognize the deception for what it is, even if others do not. She also cautioned that this deception would not present itself as obvious darkness or destruction. Instead, it would come in a form that was persuasive, attractive, and seemingly enlightened. "Words will be twisted, and what was once seen as right will be questioned," she said, implying that the greatest danger would not be force, but the slow and subtle erosion of truth. However, even in this prophecy of deception, her message was not one of despair. She believed that those who remained vigilant, who sought wisdom through prayer and moral discernment, would not be misled. She described a time when the veil will be lifted, and those who followed blindly will see the truth revealed. This vision aligns with the idea that falsehood can only thrive for so long before clarity prevails. What makes Bernadette's prophecies stand apart is her belief that the future is not set in stone. Unlike many predictions that focus on an unavoidable fate, her visions emphasized free will, the idea that humanity has the power to shape its own destiny. She believed that while trials and challenges would come, they were not meant to lead to destruction, but rather to awakening. This perspective places great responsibility on individuals and communities. If hardship is meant to be a catalyst for transformation, then how people respond to it becomes the defining factor. Bernadette's vision challenges people to ask themselves, will trials bring division, or will they inspire cooperation? Will confusion lead to despair, or will it encourage deeper faith? She believed the answer depended on the choices made by each person. This idea extends beyond personal belief and into the world at large. She spoke of a time when what was separated would be reunited, and those who once stood opposed would stand side by side. She saw unity as the natural outcome of struggle, not because difficulties would disappear, but because they would force people to recognize what truly matters. She believed that in the face of hardship, humanity would rediscover the values of compassion, justice, and shared purpose. If trials tested faith, they would also reveal what was truly in the hearts of people. The way individuals and communities chose to respond to these trials would shape the course of the future. As 2025 approaches, many are revisiting Bernadette's words, not as predictions of an unchangeable future, but as calls to action, warnings that encourage deep reflection and personal responsibility. Her vision suggests that humanity stands at a crossroads, with two paths ahead. One path leads to division, fear, and deception. The other recognizes trials as opportunities for renewal and growth. The choice, she believed, remains open. While struggles are inevitable, the way humanity responds to them will determine what kind of future is built. In this way, Bernadette's prophecies are not just predictions, but lessons, reminders that no moment of hardship is without purpose. She urged people to examine their actions, their beliefs, and their willingness to stand firm in what is right. Whether viewed through a religious, philosophical, or historical lens, her message remains the same. Humanity is at a turning point, and the choices made today will shape the world of tomorrow. As Bernadette's prophecy continues to unfold, many find inspiration in her unwavering faith and humility. While her visions spoke of trials, they also carried a profound sense of hope. She believed that even in the most difficult times, renewal is always possible, and that faith, truth, and unity are never beyond reach. Her words do not simply warn of what could go wrong, they offer a roadmap for navigating uncertainty without fear. They serve as a guiding light, reminding us that even in moments of confusion, clarity can be found by those who seek it with sincerity. As we continue to explore her messages, we will delve deeper into her teachings on spiritual perseverance, discernment in confusing times, and how individuals can prepare for the journey ahead. Bernadette's legacy is not just one of miracles, but of wisdom that continues to offer insight into how humanity can navigate both the trials and the opportunities that lie before it. As the world moves closer to what many believe is a time of significant change, her prophecies continue to spark reflection, offering guidance to those searching for meaning. Her words do not predict inevitable doom, but rather invite us to take responsibility for the future, to seek wisdom, and to choose the path of truth, faith, and unity. This is the crossroads she described, the moment where each individual must decide. Will we be shaped by fear and division, or will we use this time as an opportunity to build something greater? She believed that while deception may spread, those who remain grounded in integrity and wisdom will not be misled. Bernadette spoke of a time when many voices would call out, each claiming to speak truth, but only some would carry real clarity and guidance. She urged people to listen carefully, to discern wisely, and to trust not in what is loudest, but in what is true. Her words serve as a reminder that truth does not always arrive with force or grand displays. It is often found in stillness, in patience, and in deep reflection. She warned that during times of confusion, people would be drawn toward whatever seemed easiest to believe. Yet, truth will always reveal itself to those who sincerely seek it. Among her most cryptic warnings was her reference to a time of great illusion. She described a world in which what is false will be praised, while what is true will be ridiculed. This aligns with spiritual teachings across history, many of which warn of moments when deception will thrive, and people will struggle to distinguish between wisdom and manipulation. However, Bernadette did not frame this as a conflict of earthly power. She did not describe it in political or institutional terms. Instead, she presented it as a spiritual challenge, a test in which individuals would need to look beyond appearances and seek deeper understanding. She warned of complacency, saying that those who do not seek the light will be content in the shadows. This suggests that many would fall into deception not because they were forced, but because it was easier than questioning what was presented to them. Her words have led some to draw connections between her warnings and broader spiritual themes found in religious traditions, warnings about a time when faith will be tested and discernment will be more necessary than ever. One of the most striking aspects of her vision was the idea of a force that would mislead not necessarily a single figure, but an influence that would distort truth and turn people away from what is good. She spoke of a voice that speaks beautifully but leads many astray, which some believe could symbolize ideologies, movements, or shifting beliefs that appear to offer enlightenment but ultimately distance people from their spiritual foundations. However, even in this warning, her prophecy contained hope. She emphasized that those who seek truth with sincerity will not be deceived. Deception can only hold power over those who do not pursue wisdom, she said, implying that actively searching for truth is the greatest defense against confusion. She believed that through prayer, discernment, and humility, individuals would recognize when they were being led in the wrong direction. This was not a passive call to faith. It was an urgent reminder that truth is something one must actively seek. Despite the challenges she foresaw, Bernadette never suggested that the future was filled with despair. On the contrary, she believed that the hardships of this time would lead to something greater, a period of renewal and spiritual awakening. She spoke of a time when those who had forgotten their faith would remember, and those who had doubted would begin to seek truth once more. She described great gatherings of people in prayer, returning to their spiritual roots, drawn back toward what they had once abandoned. Her vision echoes what history has shown repeatedly: times of great crisis often lead people to rediscover their faith. Throughout generations, uncertainty has brought about reflection, and suffering has strengthened the human spirit. Bernadette suggested that this time would be no different. Even those who had distanced themselves from spirituality would begin to feel drawn back toward it, seeking guidance, peace, and understanding. She also spoke of healing not just of the body, but of the soul. She believed that the struggles of the time would lead to a deeper understanding of what truly matters. In her vision, humanity would not only endure hardship, but emerge from it stronger, more compassionate, and more united than before. For those who take Bernadette's words seriously, the question becomes, how does one prepare for such a time? Her message was not one of fear, but of readiness. She encouraged people to strengthen their faith, to not rely on external sources for truth, but to develop their own spiritual foundation, deepen their relationships, to build bonds with family, friends, and their communities, as unity would be essential in uncertain times. Cultivate discernment, to not accept everything at face value, but to carefully seek wisdom in all things. She advised that those who hold on to what is right will not be moved, suggesting that staying firm in one's beliefs and values is the key to navigating uncertain times. Her vision also suggested that preparation is not just personal, it is communal. She believed that in times of difficulty, people would need one another, finding strength in shared values and faith. She saw communities forming, people coming together, offering support to those in need, creating bonds that would help them endure whatever trials lay ahead. As Bernadette's prophecy continues to be examined, her ultimate message remains clear. Humanity is at a crossroads. The challenges she described were not meant to bring destruction, but to force a decision. Will people allow themselves to be led by fear, division, and deception? Or will they choose to rise above these trials, embracing faith, truth, and unity? She saw a future where many would be lost, but many would be found, emphasizing that even in the darkest times, light will always remain for those who seek it. Her words remind us that no period of difficulty is without purpose, and that even in the midst of hardship, there is always an opportunity for renewal. As we continue to explore Bernadette's prophecies, we will delve further into the signs she described, the deeper meaning behind her visions, and how her message continues to resonate with those seeking guidance today. Her legacy is not just one of miracles and predictions, but of wisdom, faith, and the belief that no challenge is too great when met with truth and perseverance. As time moves forward and the world draws closer to the year 2025, more and more people are looking to the words of Sister Bernadette, wondering if her visions truly foretold the events unfolding before us. Her prophecies, once considered distant and obscure, now seem eerily relevant as humanity faces an era of uncertainty and transformation. While some dismiss these predictions as mere coincidence, others believe they hold a deeper significance, serving as both a warning and a guide for those who seek to understand what is to come. And so the question remains, are we witnessing the fulfillment of her words? Or are we simply at another turning point in history, one where her message serves as a timeless reminder of the choices we must make? Among the most debated aspects of Bernadette's visions is the concept of a great deception, a period in which many would be led astray by forces claiming to offer truth, but instead spreading confusion. She warned that the voice of falsehood would be louder than the voice of truth, and many would follow blindly without questioning what they were being told. What made her warning especially striking was her insistence that this deception would be so convincing that even those who once held firm in their beliefs might begin to doubt. This has led many to wonder, are we now entering the time she spoke of? And if so, how can one remain vigilant? One of the greatest challenges Bernadette foresaw was the struggle to recognize what is real in a world filled with illusion. She described a future in which what is false would be praised as wisdom, and what is true would be dismissed as folly. This suggests that deception would not arrive in the form of an obvious lie, but rather as a distortion, something that appears noble and good, but ultimately leads people away from the path of righteousness. Her words align with the growing concerns of today, the increasing difficulty of discerning truth amidst misinformation, manipulation, and shifting narratives. The way information is shaped, the voices that control public perception, and the ease with which truth can be obscured all mirror the struggle Bernadette seemed to warn about. She foresaw a time when certainty itself would become rare, and those seeking clarity would have to rely not on external sources, but on their own inner convictions. The world, she suggested, would be filled with conflicting messages, each claiming to represent wisdom, yet only those who looked beyond appearances, who sought truth with humility, would find their way. Despite the complexity of these warnings, Bernadette did not leave humanity without guidance. She offered a path forward, insisting that those who truly seek wisdom will not be misled. She taught that truth is not about intelligence or influence, but rather about sincerity, the willingness to question, to reflect, and to seek beyond what is immediately presented. Among her most mysterious and troubling prophecies was her vision of a deceiver, a figure who would rise in a time of chaos and uncertainty, presenting themselves as a bringer of peace and enlightenment, but ultimately leading many away from the truth. Though she never used the word Antichrist, her description echoes the characteristics often associated with this prophesied figure. She spoke of one who would not come with chains, but with promises, not with force, but with persuasion. This aligns with the idea that the most dangerous deception is not one that forces submission, but one that offers comfort, solutions, and a sense of security only to gradually distort the values and beliefs of those who follow. She warned that this figure would gain the trust of many not through fear, but through words that appeal to their desires and hopes. They will speak of unity, but their heart will seek control. They will promise peace, but their actions will bring division. This chilling vision suggests that the deceiver would not appear as an enemy, but as a leader, a figure who offers solutions to the world's greatest struggles, yet whose true purpose is to lead people away from faith. However, Bernadette's prophecy was not without hope. She insisted that those who remain firm in their beliefs will see beyond the illusion. Their hearts will not be deceived, she said, implying that those who choose to stay grounded in truth, rather than seeking comfort in false promises, will recognize deception for what it is. She did not paint 2025 as a year of doom, but rather as a year of choice. A moment when humanity would stand at a crossroads facing two distinct paths, one leading toward truth, renewal, and awakening. the other leading toward confusion, division, and deception. She believed that the trials of this time would not be punishments, but tests. They will reveal where each heart truly stands. This suggests that the challenges of 2025 will act as a mirror, reflecting the true nature of individuals and societies. Bernadette saw this not as a moment of destruction, but as an awakening one that would force people to confront their beliefs, their values, and their willingness to stand for what is right. One of the most hopeful aspects of her prophecy was her belief that not all would be lost. She foresaw a time when faith would experience a resurgence as more people began to seek answers beyond what the world offers. She described gatherings of people in prayer, supporting one another, rediscovering the strength that comes from unity. The fire of faith will not die. It will burn brighter in the hearts of those who refuse to be led astray. This message stands in stark contrast to the fear-driven narratives that often surround prophecies. Bernadette did not see the future as an inevitable descent into chaos, but rather as a test one that, if faced with faith and wisdom, could lead to a stronger, more spiritually awakened humanity. For those who take Bernadette's words seriously, the question becomes, how should one prepare for 2025? Her prophecies suggest that preparation is not about physical survival, but about spiritual strength. She emphasized three key virtues that would serve as protection in uncertain times: discernment, the ability to recognize truth from falsehood. She urged people to pray for wisdom, to seek clarity not from the world, but from their faith. She warned against blindly following trends or leaders who promise comfort, but ignore deeper truths. Faith, those who remain firm in their beliefs will not be easily swayed. She encouraged people to deepen their spiritual practices, stay connected to their values, and trust in divine guidance even when the world felt uncertain. Unity. While division may grow, only unity will overcome the trials ahead. She saw communities coming together, offering strength and support, resisting the forces that sought to isolate and divide. Her prophecy suggests that the true battle of 2025 will not be fought with weapons, but with conviction. It will be a time when people must stand firm in what they believe, even as the world around them shifts and changes. As the world moves closer to 2025, Bernadette's words continue to echo a reminder that while challenges may come, they are not meant to destroy, but to refine. She did not see the future as one of despair, but rather as a moment of decision. Those who choose wisely, who seek truth, who remain faithful to their principles, will not be lost. The path ahead will be difficult, but those who walk it with faith will find their way. Her message is clear. This is a time of awakening, a time to choose, a time to prepare. Whether her visions were divine prophecy or simply reflections on the cycles of history, their core message remains. The future is not something to fear, it is something shaped by the choices made today. Bernadette's vision of a time of decision was not one of despair, but of responsibility. She saw the coming trials as a reflection of the choices humanity would make, a test not of suffering for the sake of punishment, but of awakening for those willing to see beyond the surface of their reality. Those who sought truth, who questioned not out of fear, but out of a desire to understand, would not be led astray. She warned that the greatest challenge would not be the trials themselves, but the deception surrounding them. It would be easy to become lost in the noise, to mistake comfort for wisdom, and to accept the illusions presented as guidance. But she insisted that clarity was not impossible, that those who truly desired to see would have their eyes opened. She spoke of a world where confusion would reign, where people would struggle to discern between what was genuine and what was merely a shadow of the truth. It would not be an age of ignorance, but one of overwhelming information, where so many voices spoke at once that clarity would become rare. In this world, she said, the greatest temptation would not be wickedness, but passivity, the ease of surrendering to whatever was most convenient, most comfortable, rather than searching for deeper meaning. She warned of a time when the struggle would not be physical, but internal, when the test would not be one of survival, but of identity. What people chose to follow, what they chose to believe, and most importantly, what they chose to become would shape the world they lived in. The deception she spoke of was not merely one of ideas, but of an entire shift in perception, one where the very definition of truth would be questioned, not through force but through slow erosion. Those who once believed themselves firm in their convictions might begin to doubt, not because they had been proven wrong, but because the foundation upon which they had built their understanding had been subtly reshaped. Yet in all this, she did not describe a world without hope. In her visions, she saw people beginning to awaken, not all at once, but in waves, as realization spread among those who refused to be led by illusion. She described gatherings, not of spectacle, but of sincerity, where individuals sought connection, not in grand declarations, but in the quiet understanding that they were not alone in their search for meaning. These were not movements based on resistance, but on recognition that something deeper called to them, something that could not be silenced by confusion or distraction. In her visions, the more the deception spread, the more people began to question, and from that questioning came renewal. She believed that faith was not merely a doctrine, but an anchor in the storm, something that would hold firm even when everything else seemed uncertain. Those who remained steady, who chose to trust in what was good rather than what was easy, would find their way. It was not about certainty, she said, for even the most faithful would have moments of doubt. Rather, it was about the willingness to keep searching, to not settle for shallow comforts when deeper truth was waiting to be uncovered. The deception, she warned, would be appealing because it would promise simplicity, a way to avoid the difficulty of self-reflection and real transformation. But those who resisted it, those who chose to walk the more difficult path of seeking what was real, would be the ones who endured. She saw a time when people would begin to realize that the world they had built around themselves was not as stable as they once believed. She described a shift, not only in society but within the human heart, a growing awareness that the things once thought to be unshakable were, in fact, fragile. Institutions would struggle to maintain control, voices of authority would become increasingly conflicted, and those who once trusted without question would begin to see cracks in the foundation of what they had always accepted. This, she said, would be the moment of awakening. Not all would recognize it, and many would cling even tighter to what was familiar, unwilling to question the reality they had grown comfortable in. But others would begin to sense something deeper, something that called them away from the distractions and toward something greater. She spoke of renewal, not as something that would come easily, but as something that would emerge through struggle. The trials she described were not meant to destroy, but to refine, to force people to decide what truly mattered to them. Those who sought only comfort would be unsettled, while those who were willing to face discomfort in search of something greater would find strength they never knew they had. She saw not just individuals, but entire communities beginning to form, people drawn together by a shared understanding that they could no longer navigate the challenges of the world alone. These were not movements built on fear, but on the realization that true resilience came from connection, from choosing to stand together rather than apart. She believed that even in the darkest moments, light would not be extinguished. It would not always be visible to those who refused to seek it, but it would be there for those who were willing to look beyond the immediate chaos and find something lasting. She saw a time when many would be lost, but many more would be found, not through force but through revelation, as the truth made itself known to those who were prepared to receive it. She described the fire of faith, not as something that would be imposed, but as something that would awaken within people, as they realized that the answers they had been searching for were always there, waiting to be acknowledged. She did not believe in fate, in a future that was unchangeable. Rather, she saw possibility two paths, each leading to different outcomes, each determined by the choices people made. The trials of the time would not dictate the future. The response to them would. Those who succumbed to fear, who allowed themselves to be led by deception, would find themselves lost in confusion. But those who sought truth, who held firm even when everything around them seemed uncertain, would emerge stronger, more aware, and more connected to what truly mattered. Her vision of 2025 was not one of doom, but of decision. She spoke of a world at a turning point, a time when humanity would be given a choice: to be led by illusion or to awaken to what was real. Those who prepared not by stockpiling material wealth, but by strengthening their hearts and minds, would be the ones who endured. It was not about survival in the physical sense, but about spiritual endurance, the ability to hold on to what was right even when the world seemed to be shifting. She did not believe that faith would be easy in this time, but she believed it would be essential, the only true anchor in a world of uncertainty. She saw a future shaped not by inevitability, but by the decisions of those who lived through it. There would be loss, there would be confusion, and there would be moments when the deception seemed overwhelming. But she also saw renewal, the stirring of something deeper within the hearts of those who refused to be led astray. She saw a fire that could not be put out, a resilience that could not be broken, and she knew that no matter how strong the illusion, no matter how many voices tried to drown out the truth, there would always be those who saw through it, who stood firm, who chose to seek something greater. Bernadette's visions painted a picture of a world in which truth and illusion would battle not in an open war, but in the minds and hearts of individuals. The deception she spoke of was not one that would arrive with force or violence, but with subtle persuasion, with comforting words and promises that seemed too good to refuse. She warned that those who sought only what was easy and pleasant would be the first to fall into this illusion, for they would not question what was given to them. She described a time when people would be so distracted by the world around them that they would no longer seek what was within. They would rely on what they were told, trust in the voices that spoke the loudest, and follow what seemed most secure. But she cautioned that security built on deception is no security at all, and those who built their lives on falsehoods would eventually find the ground beneath them crumbling. Her vision was not one of despair, but of warning that only those who took the time to reflect, to truly listen, would recognize what was real and what was merely an illusion designed to lead them astray. She spoke of an age in which comfort would be prioritized over truth, where people would rather hear what pleased them than what challenged them. But the challenge, she said, was necessary. Truth was not meant to be easy, but it was meant to set people free. She saw a world in which division would rise, not because of differences in belief, but because of a deep confusion over what was real and what was not. This was the great trial, not a battle fought with weapons, but a struggle to maintain clarity in a time when deception would be everywhere. Those who sought power would not come as oppressors, but as saviors, presenting themselves as the answer to the world's troubles, offering solutions that seemed just and fair, yet subtly distorting the foundations of truth. This deception, she said, would not demand obedience outright. Instead, it would lure people into a false sense of security, persuading them that they had nothing to question. She warned that those who blindly trusted what they were given, who never questioned the narrative of the world, would be the ones most easily led away from what was right. But those who stopped, who listened, who took the time to seek what was beyond the surface, would begin to see through the veil. She believed that even in the face of deception, truth could not be entirely silenced. She saw gatherings of people, not in defiance, but in quiet realization, coming together not because they had been told to, but because they had each, in their own way, recognized that something was deeply wrong with the way the world was moving. These people were not led by a movement, nor by a single leader. They did not belong to any one place or belief system. They were simply those who had chosen to step back, to ask questions, and to search for something deeper than the distractions that surrounded them. She described moments of awakening, not as great revelations, but as simple understandings that would dawn on those who refused to be swept away by the tide of confusion. These awakenings would not come all at once, but in stages, as more and more people realized that the world they had trusted was not what it seemed. She believed that faith would not be destroyed, but hidden buried beneath layers of noise, of distraction, of endless voices telling people what to believe and how to live. But it would not be lost. She saw it rising again, not in the way people expected, but in ways they could not anticipate. The fire of faith, she said, would not be found in the grand institutions or in the places of power, but in the quiet hearts of those who refused to give in to the deception. It would be found in the conversations that took place away from the noise, in the communities that formed outside of the influence of the world's distractions. She saw a world that was being led toward a choice, a time when each person would have to decide for themselves what they believed, who they trusted, and what they were willing to stand for. She spoke of a division that would not be between nations, nor between races or cultures, but between those who sought truth and those who accepted illusion. Those who sought truth would struggle, she said. They would be ridiculed, cast aside, told that their concerns were unfounded, that their questions were unnecessary. But she insisted that those who persisted, who remained firm, would find what they were looking for. She described a time when the world would reach a breaking point, when the weight of deception would become too great to sustain itself. At that moment, many who had once been blind would begin to see, and those who had been lost would start to find their way back. She saw a return not to the past, but to something even older, something that had always been there, waiting for people to rediscover it. She believed that truth could never be completely destroyed. It could be hidden, buried, dismissed, but it would always remain. Those who sought it, who searched for something beyond what was handed to them, would be the ones who carried it forward. The trials, she said, were not punishments, but opportunities. A chance for people to decide what truly mattered. She saw a time when many would choose to let go of what was real, because it was easier to do so. But she also saw a time when many would fight to hold on to what mattered, even when it cost them. She believed that in the end, those who remained true to what was good and real would not be lost. The deception would spread, but it would not be absolute. She saw light breaking through the darkness, small at first, but growing as those who refused to be deceived came together, not in rebellion, but in understanding. She spoke of a renewal, not one that would come from above, but one that would rise from within, from the hearts of those who had chosen to see. She believed that humanity was not doomed, but that it stood at a turning point. Those who wished to see clearly would have to fight for their clarity. They would have to choose not between war and peace, not between power and weakness, but between deception and truth. She warned that the choice would not always be obvious, that the easy path would always seem more appealing, more comfortable. But for those who chose truth, the reward would not be comfort, but certainty. She saw a future in which many would be lost, but many more would be found. She saw a world in which faith would be tested, but it would not die. She saw a fire that would not be put out, a resilience that would not be broken. And she knew that no matter how strong the deception, no matter how many voices tried to drown out the truth, there would always be those who saw through it. There would always be those who chose to stand firm, who chose to seek, who chose to believe. And for them, the future was not one of fear, but of hope. Bernadette's visions were never meant to inspire fear, but rather to awaken a sense of urgency, a reminder that the choices made in times of trial would shape the path ahead. She saw a world standing at a crossroads where deception and truth would compete for the hearts and minds of humanity. Yet, even in her most dire warnings, she spoke of hope, not as a passive expectation, but as something that had to be actively chosen, fought for, and preserved. She knew that many would not see the deception for what it was. It would not arrive with the obvious trappings of deceit, but would be wrapped in words that soothed, promises that comforted, and visions that seemed filled with light. The most dangerous lies, she said, would be the ones that carried the illusion of wisdom. People would not be forced into deception, they would welcome it, embrace it, and defend it, believing they were choosing progress when, in reality, they were drifting further from what was real. But just as deception would spread, so too would awakening. not all would be lost, and she believed the very trials meant to lead people astray would, in the end, bring many back to the truth. As the world grew more chaotic, more uncertain, there would be those who would stop and listen not to the loudest voices, not to those who demanded blind trust, but to the quiet certainty within themselves. They would begin to question, to wonder if what they had accepted for so long was truly as it seemed. She saw these seekers rising from every walk of life, not just from places of faith, but from those who had never considered themselves spiritual before. Something within them would stir, an unexplainable pull towards something deeper than the distractions around them. This, she said, was the beginning of the renewal she had foreseen. Not a grand event, not a sudden transformation, but a slow and steady return, a journey back to what had been buried beneath years of confusion. She described moments of recognition, where people would begin to see through the illusions that had held them captive. It would not be easy. Many would resist, unwilling to acknowledge that what they had trusted was built on shifting sand. But for those who accepted the call to seek, the world would begin to look different. They would notice things they had ignored before, feel a longing for something more, something real. Faith, she said, would not be lost. It would be tested, shaken, and even forgotten by many, but it would never disappear. It would return not as an institution, not as a movement, but as a quiet fire rekindling in the hearts of those who longed for truth. She saw gatherings not orchestrated by leaders, not driven by fear, but formed naturally as those seeking meaning found one another. They would speak not in grand declarations, but in quiet understanding, drawn together by a shared sense that something in the world was shifting. And as this awakening spread, she saw deception beginning to unravel. Truth, once hidden, would begin to shine through the cracks. Those who had once been blind to it would start to see, and those who had been misled would start to return. She believed that even in the darkest times, the light could not be fully extinguished. She had spoken of two paths, one leading further into confusion and division, the other toward renewal and unity. She never claimed that one would win outright, only that the choice would always remain open. No deception, no trial, no hardship could force someone away from truth, unless they willingly turned from it. She had seen a world in turmoil, but she had also seen a world finding its way back. She believed that in the end, the outcome would not be decided by governments, rulers, or institutions. It would be decided by the quiet choices of individuals, those who, in their own way, chose truth over convenience, faith over doubt, and unity over division. The future was not set in stone. She had always said that. The visions she received were not absolute, they were possibilities, shaped by the actions of those who lived through them. The trials would come, yes. The deception would spread. But so too would the realization that truth had never truly been lost, only buried beneath the noise. And so, she left the world with a final message.